I'm so sorry. You did a whole video of like sacred femininity, and what is your thought on sacred manhood and sacred masculinity?
Yeah, I've spoken about the divine feminine on various occasions, and I have very personal reasons for that, because if I was to do a bit of soul searching, it's probably because I lost my mom at a young age. And kind of that's why Catholicism appeals to me, because the Mother Mary is kind of like a goddess figure, and she can probably be traced back to the mother goddesses of earlier times.
Yeah.
So personally, for me, the idea of a masculine god has never resonated.
Oh, I'm not talking about a masculine god, but
yeah,
yeah.
the divine masculinity as a concept. I think before we could embrace that idea as a society, as a culture, first we have to just come to terms with the idea that masculinity is not evil and not toxic. I do love
masculinity would do for now.
Well, yeah, so it's kind of sad and tragic, but that would be good enough as the next step.
Can I just weigh in and say, you said that a male god never resonated with you. Have you met women? Why would God do that to herself?
I think that to me, God is a father. And I think it's completely normal that as a woman, you need something feminine, something creative to look up to. And as a man, I need something masculine to look up to. And I'm a Christian, and I love Jesus, but for me, Jesus is not a representation of the sacred masculine, because I think that Jesus is a combination of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine. I think he's a perfectly balanced being, so to speak, where the Holy Father, especially the Father of the Old Testament, is much more a masculine force, but not a force that is easy to approach in some ways. So even though I'm a Christian, I understand that a lot of masculine men have a stronger tendency towards, for example, Thor or Odin, the gods that are, or Zeus even, the gods that were much more human and flawed, and that you could identify with. And I don't know if you guys watched the TV show Vikings. No, okay, well, it's Norse mythology, and when I watch it, I feel my masculinity being addressed, and I'm like, oh, I want to fight, and I want to be strong, and I want to measure my own masculinity with other men in brotherhood, and that's lacking for me in society. And the only people that I can resonate with are actually people from the military, or people that are new Vikings, so to speak.
Are you familiar with the story, Philip, of Prometheus?
Yes, yeah.
So, I mean, for me, if we're talking about the divine masculine, he really exemplifies it for me, because, you know, he was like Zeus's romance. And then, you know, he was working with his hands. He was a metal worker and a forger, and then he defied Zeus to bring fire to man, you know. And it's all just, that figure for me is like the most beautiful, brave, noble exemplar of masculinity.
And he was punished.
And he was punished, and so was man.
Yeah.
He's like a father figure. He's like the single parent of humanity.
Yeah.
In a way, although obviously all the gods contributed to the little figure created.
Speaking of the Greek gods punishing man, ask Greta about Pandora.
Well, it's just that takes us back to the topic of the femme fatale, because I just find it really fascinating that most religions I'm familiar with depict the first woman as beautiful but dangerous at the same time. Not evil, but having a reckless curiosity.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the Pandora story is just so incredible. I mean, you create her to be obviously strikingly beautiful, and then you give her this box that you just tell her it's a gift, but it doesn't matter what's inside it. Don't keep it closed.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I mean, who could? It's just so human. It's such a human story. Again, it's a very archetypal story, because who could not look inside the box? And it's the same with Eve and the apple. I mean, you have a massive garden, and you have hundreds of trees or thousands of trees, and he doesn't talk about any of the other trees, just that one. You shouldn't eat from that one. I mean, obviously, I mean, how can you use that? So it's like there's this underlying theme. And again, the feminist interpretation of these stories would be that it's so misogynistic because they portray women as manipulative and dangerous and whatever. But it's just,
but they also portray man as weak, and they show the power of the woman over the man.
Exactly.
And yeah, there might be a negative influence, but the negative influence is also in the man himself, by saying women are his weak spot.
Yeah, but surely the stories are there to go, look, men and women, these are the dangers. This is what could happen. Try to be a bit better. Isn't that what they're there for?
Well,
like their lessons, we learn from the mistakes of others. It's not meant to say, like, all women are Eve and are going to make Adam eat the apple,
Whenever a feminist brings up the Garden of Eden and says, oh, clearly this is so misogynistic that a woman unleashed hell upon the earth, I'm like, the devil is a guy. How is that not misandrist?
Yeah, but then he used the woman to
Yeah, but he was an angel. He's not even a human.
But that is very true.
But it was a male who tricked her, so like...
Yeah, but hang on, we've been over this. We're really not sure about the sex at the moment, so let's just cool it.
Maybe we should all check our doors if the Ottoman Empire is standing in front of our door right now. Greta.
I just wanted to come back to the idea of the divine masculine, and I just so it kind of ties back in with the peak and collapse of cultures that we talked about previously, in the sense that, again, MRAdio talks about it, how during the peak of an empire, if you look at art from that era, they tend to portray men as very masculine, usually as warriors, soldiers, and then towards the end, they become more kind of flaccid and more girl-like, and like then they start to worship the beauty of the male. But anyway, during the peak of the civilization, the masculine god, the divine masculine, does play a role, because that's the force that kind of gives men the strength to go to war, to conquer, to fight, to invade. And then obviously in polytheistic religions, the goddesses have an important role too, because the goddesses give them strength or wisdom or anything, but it's the male god that gives them the strength.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to note, though, if we're referencing kind of classical mythology, that if you look at, say, the Greek pantheon, there are male and female archetypes for each thing. So, Athene was the goddess of war, and she was strong and powerful, and,
And Ares.
I mean, Ares was the god of war, but
but did you know
Athena was more about the strategy of war, whereas Ares
exactly.
And then we had I'm thinking of Cupid, but he's got another name in mythology.
Just real quick in regards to Athena and Ares. So Athena was the strategic goddess of war, and Ares was the fighter. But when it actually came to them competing against each other, Athena won, because he only used brute force, and she tricked him into a huge vessel, into a vase, and he couldn't get out of it anymore. I think that's the story. So she was stronger than him because she was the strategic planner.
I'm pretty sure tricking him into a massive vase is a euphemism for she had sex with him and took pictures.
A massive vase. How very dare you?
I think it's Hermes.
It's going downhill.
Very much so.
It's Hermes that you were thinking of, Elizabeth.
Sorry?
Hermes. Yeah.
No, Hermes is the messenger.
Eros is the Greek.
Eros,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
So
Aphrodite.
he's, you know, just absolutely bloody gorgeous, and Aphrodite, exactly, who lives by my bed.
Well, can I just say, judging by Philip's cigar, that it's nearly time to wrap up. But I would like to discuss a little bit about a project that Greta and I have been working on. It's
please tell me it has nothing to do with a humongous vase or anything.
you can find it on Pornhub.
Well, not yet, but actually, for the first time in 4 years, I'm going to be bringing out an update to the Big Sister saga. So Greta has very kindly agreed to be both the voice and face of Big Sister, because unfortunately, as a male, I can't do it. I can be the
It's 2020.
I know, man. Come
You
on.
can do anything.
I can do all the editing and the writing, but I unfortunately can't be the face of. So yes, I'm incredibly excited because Big Sister is a very, very important metaphor for me. It's based on the feeling that feminism gives you when you truly embrace all of the things that it says, when you truly believe that men are despicable human beings who belong in prison, 90% of inmates, that they deserve not to see their children, that they are rapists by nature, and they are sexually deviant, and they are misogynistic, and they built a world that oppresses half of society. When you embrace that, then the corruption that it does to you is unimaginable. So Big Sister is all of the...
So Big Sister is a dystopian future like story that you're working on.
It's a video series. There is a video on my channel. It's one of my earliest videos called Big Sister is Watching You. And this will be a follow-up. But Big Sister is Watching You was just a one-off years ago, whereas Greta and I have many ideas on how to turn this into a whole series, including doing things like photography and putting it on Instagram. So thankfully, due to Greta's immense talents, we are really able to take this to places that I hitherto would only have dreamt of.
Aww.
Pat, if you're running out of honey,
everybody.
Cheers to that.
You need a cheers image.
Yeah, I will find one, I'm sure. But I did want to invite Greta to talk a little bit about it as well.
So I've already shot some footage that he's started to edit, and I think he's actually going to show me what he's done for the first time tonight. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Me and Philip are free.
I can pass that along as well.
Speak for yourself, Elizabeth. I actually have a life,
But I mean, I love the idea. It works really well for me because I don't really feel like he keeps referring to it as kind of acting, as a form of acting, but I don't think I'm a great actress. It's just me. I just do me and it works. So I think there's just a very fortunate sort of collaboration.
Basically, this is Greta admitting that she is, in fact, massively misandrist and fascistic.
Well, referring to the persona, because it is a femme fatale persona,
yes, it's a great cathartic way of me being able to explore in detail the difficult emotions that brought me to this movement in the first place. Because as I've said before, the catalyst for coming here was a very close friend, female friend, telling me out of the blue that she thought the world would be a better place if men were dead. And I want Big Sister to be able to impart to people who don't necessarily understand the feminist rhetoric as much as we do, that what that feels like, the shock and the horror of hearing someone that you respected and were very close to suddenly say something that's quite so horrible. So that's what Big Sister is. It's a way of putting that message forward.
Wow, that sounds
We'll
great.
be watching.
Yeah.